Howdy folks, welcome back to Space Engineers. We're in the hangar and you can hear noises. You can hear noises because there's an atmosphere in here. I went ahead and set up a vent system. I've got 3 vents because this is such a large area. And I got some timer blocks and everything to run all the depressurization. It's hard to say. I've got the little connector set up to keep the tank filled, although the event controller is in the main part. But what we're going to do today is we're going to be setting up this little fighter ship. So I've been building these. I got one out there already ready to go, and this guy has a little connection point over here outside that we're going to put him on. I had built a couple of these, and I was testing them out. I had it set on the alert, so when the enemy is detected, you know, the lights go off. So I had it set to launch the fighters when that happened. The problem is, sometimes they're far away when that goes off. So there was, I don't remember if it was Ember or somebody was going by, and it launched the fighters. And then I realized they were far away, but before I could get contact with the fighters and bring them back, they were out of range, and the Ember, whatever it was, launched drones. And that's the last I ever saw of those 2 fighters. So yeah, they're small, cheap to build. You know, there's not much to them. They've just got a couple of, I think these are autocannons. And then not much hydrogen fuel, because they are tiny. But anywho, I've got this one printed up, and we're going to get it refueled. I've got a refuel set up here, so let's see if we can get this to work. If I hit rotate, should turn this around, and then we can lower down the fuel arm. And then in theory, we can extend this out, and it should connect up. Yep. All right. Connect. Then I've got the, ooh, that's a little clangy there. I've got event controllers on the fighter, so it'll be stockpiling the tanks. That should be good to go. Let's get this thing cut loose. Whee! Oh, I need to not have that extend quite so far, apparently. Max distance, let's bring that down to 1 point. It doesn't want to go. 0.7? No. Doesn't want to go for some reason. Let's try manually tapping in. There we go. Yeah, that's that was a little clangy. And then we need to get the half block put in there. Let's get that like that. There we go. Might need to share inertia tensor or something on there. That's a little bit clangy. But if we connect to this guy now, we should have fuel, and we should be able to get him outside. So what I've been doing is I'll ride on top of these guys. So we're going to mag boot. We're going to auto dampener to it. And we're going to connect. It's not connectable. Why are you not connectable? Did your antenna not get built or something? I think the antenna's in the bottom, actually. I see it there. Oh, it's because it's connected. Right. Never mind. I'm being a dummy. So it should have enough fuel now. Let's switch lock this. There we go. Yeah. It's because I was connected, so it was showing up as the station. Alright. Auto dampener onto that, and then go over here. Then there's a little bit of setup I have to do. It doesn't remember everything. And then, of course, we have to do the AI recorders for launch and recovery. But let's first go to info, and this is going to be Tiny Fighter 2. Perfect. Alright, let's head outdoors. So we're going to go up a bit. Could have looked a little better. Over here, I do have a sensor set up on this door. Oh, right. We have atmosphere in here, so that's turned off. I keep forgetting about this new stuff. All right. Out of that. Out of here. I don't have gravity in here, but I do have atmosphere. And I've got this control panel set up so we can hit depressurize. And it turns on some lights. And it starts sucking the air out of here. And that takes a little bit. So I've got these timer blocks set up. So once it's all depressurized, it'll unlock the door. So I'll be back in a bit. Most of the air is gone. It should be just about done. See the timer block still back there flashing. But I went ahead and did that because I got tired of working on stuff out here, and then it just uses up so much energy keeping you warm and stuff. So if I'm going to be out here for a while, it's kind of worth the taking the 2 minutes it takes to pressurize this. Then I don't have to hop in the ship quite as much and recharge. Thought this was about done. While we're waiting, let's go ahead and get this guy attracted and raised up out of the way. Send that guy back to its normal build position. And there we go. We're back to no air and the doors are unlocked. Lock onto this guy, hit the auto dampener. Tiny Fighter 2. Away! Now the sensor works. And I need to head over to that trade station at some point too. It's still on the to-do list. You can see the little tiny connector right over there. It's a little tricky getting this lined up, but we're going to come over here like this. And I can kind of see what I'm doing. Welder out of the way. Yeah, we're almost there. Just need to come. Whoa. It's a little twitchy. And like I said, it's all set up with event controllers and whatnot. And even got a little light on the front that it turns off. So basically what we need to do now is set up the launch and recovery waypoints with the flight recorders. So these fighters are super simple. They have a flight move, an AI offensive combat, and then I've got an event controller for the docking port, and then some timer blocks. So we'll show how all that's set up. To make it easier to connect, let me just go ahead and switch lock that guy. We'll connect back up to Tiny Fighter 2. And then on the bar here, I've got the launch and the land add waypoints that we're going to use. So what I want to do is, I want to get, well, for launch it doesn't necessarily matter too much. I guess we'll get up close. I'll set a waypoint there. I'm going to go out a little bit. Set another waypoint. I'm going to go out away from the station a bit, and I'm just going to hit another waypoint. And then it's basically just the opposite for landing. So I'm going to hit number 3. Put a waypoint out there, and then we're going to come in here a little bit, and we're going to hit another waypoint. That's where we'll be turning on like precision mode. And we're going to get right up here. And I'm going to get right snug up against the connector. And hit a waypoint. That way it'll be sure and dock. Okay, we can connect that guy back up. And you can see just how little fuel these things have. And then if we bring up, it's going to be TF for Tiny Fighter. wonder if it's worth me. I went ahead and renamed all these. Let me rename all these to TF2. It'll be a little easier. I'll be right back. Okay, a little bit tedious, but it'll make it a little clearer. So we have the launch waypoints. So we want to do some stuff at launch. So what we're going to do at waypoint 1 is we're going to say we're going to kick off the these timer blocks are run by the event controller. Let's take a quick look at those. So the undock, I need to redo these because I renamed them. So we have hydrogen tanks and thrusters, so we need to get those set back up. So if we go to F2, we have tanks, so we want to turn stockpile off when we undock. We want to turn the thrusters on. And then it says turn on the flight move, collision avoidance, and turn off precision mode, and it turns on the lights. That happens automatically when you disconnect. And then similar on the docking, we need to redo the thrusters and the hydrogen tanks. So thrusters off, hydrogen tank stockpile on. Sorry, had to sneeze. All right, so that's redone. I don't think combat has anything to redo. So when I rename those groups, I have to redo that. So we have a timer block basically that says return to base after 2 minutes. So once they launch, they will come back after 2 minutes because they're going to be basically almost out of fuel. And then the docking controller, does it still have the connector? Yeah, it still has the connector there. There's also a low ammo event controller, which will also send it back to base immediately when it runs out of ammo. And that's pretty much it. I just want to make sure I'm getting these set up right. So let me go look at this guy. Yeah, so we're unlocking the connector and then we're turning on combat. Then landing, was I turning off? Yeah, I turned off precision mode and then I turned off collision. All right. Just want to make sure I was doing it the same way. So for launch, we're coming down here to waypoint 1. We want to set up an action. And we're going to say TF2, connector, unlock. And then out here, the event controller, when we undock, is going to take care of the collision avoidance and stuff on undocking. So at waypoint 3, then, we want to say we want to turn on the combat AI behavior on. So it launches, it flies out to waypoint 3, and then it turns on the combat offensive block, which will take over, detect enemies, fly to them, shoot at them, that kind of thing. And then with landing, we're kind of doing something similar. So out of waypoint 1, we're going to go to the flight block, and I think we were turning off precision mode. Or sorry, turning on precision mode. Then at waypoint 2, we're going to turn off collision avoidance, so it just doesn't get confused trying to dock. And once we get to waypoint 3, we want to lock that connector. So lock. And that should, in theory, work. Just in case it doesn't, let me drop a save. All right, so if I go in here and I say TF2, and I say launch, play. All right, I have to turn on the, I have to turn on the flight first. Speaking of which, timer. I can go ahead and set up this as well. So this is the timer block on the station that launches the fighters. So you can see here, I've got Tiny Fighter 1 set up on 1. I'm going to do the same for 2, 3, 4, whatever, however many we have. So we turn on the flight move behavior, and then we play the launch. I forgot to turn on the flight behavior. That's why it didn't do anything. We go to Control 2. Go to Tiny Fighter 2. So we want to turn on the AI behavior, then launch, play. So now it's set up on the timer block. So when I hit the button inside, they will launch. Let's test out the theory, though. So we want to go to Flights, turn on AI behavior. There it goes. Now it's going to go play the launch. It might be a little messed up the first time because of the collision avoidance and stuff isn't quite sorted out. We'll let it figure out its thing. It's going to go to combat mode, though, so I don't want it to do that necessarily. Let's make sure, yeah, that should be all set up. So if I hit RTB, trigger now, it should come back in dock. It's the theory, anyway. While it's doing that, let me check the inventory. And it did pull in ammo, so that's good. Yeah, the autocannons have their ammo. Good deal. Okay, it came back and docked on RTB. So there we go. Tiny Fighter 2 is set up. And before I die, we need to get back inside. So now when I hit the launch button, it should send those two off, and they'll help defend the base. I've thought about making like a docking bay, a bunch of these, but for now I'm just setting them up on the outside. And what I'm thinking about doing is making two more and setting up a dock here. Lights on. So for the dock, in case that wasn't clear, what I've got is a large grid hinge, and I've got the small head on it. And then I use a small grid conveyor converter just to get it out away from the hinge. And then I've got a little connector. That's how they can set up. And then in the fighter, it's got a little sorter that will just pull in ammo for the guns. That's how that is all set up. View closed. So we're basically ready to print another one. And yeah, my energy is low, so let's hop in here real quick. And then, what else have I got? I've been doing a few tweaks here and there to the station. We have been attacked by reavers again. I wasn't recording. Got some screenshots. I showed that on a community post on YouTube. And we came out okay. Just a little bit of damage. The guns pretty much decimated the reaver. And it didn't destroy it, but I think it got all its weapons, so it left. Which was nice. It's always nice when they leave. Why is my oxygen filling up so slow? That's interesting. Are we out of oxygen, perchance? How much does this have in it? Yeah, right at 50%. Let me go check. Let's check in here. What have we got? I think I'll end the video in here. Why does it feel like I'm so short? Oh, because I was crouched. That would be why. All right, let's get some air in here. How are we doing on oxygen? Yeah, our main oxygen is fine. I don't know why it was refilling so slow. Maybe it always refills that slow in the cockpit. And I just didn't notice because I'm usually not that low. So to-do list. Ooh, who we got here? We got Ember. It's like they're going away, so that's good. Next on the agenda, I need to build a transport ship. So hopefully I have a whole bunch of magnesium over at the mining outpost. I just don't have anything bringing it back right now. So I need to build a transport ship and then get it set up for mining outpost 1. I replaced the blown up fighters, so I can mark that as complete. But I will probably build more fighters. Since that's done, I'm going to move it to the top. And I need to find a few more ores. And we still need to decorate the quarters. Maybe we'll do a decoration video at some point. But the next big thing is to get a transport ship built. It blew up my transport ship. That's no fun. Actually, is there a... There's a console somewhere that will show a hollow image of something. I don't know what it's called. Console block? I think that's what will show a hologram. Let's try setting one of those up. And I can show the transport ship that I've got. Do we have consoles on here anywhere? It's just normal stuff. Alright, we'll put it on here. Console. So this probably won't stay here, but let's just stick one right here. I think this is the one where you can... Yeah, projection area, blueprints. What did I call that thing? Transport, not a truck. Drone? Yeah, there it is. Transport drone 1. Did I move it now? Forward offset maybe? Yeah, there we go. That's pretty cool. I like it. Let's bring it up a little bit. So that might be hard to see. But that's the little transport drone I had. Does this let you do like opacity or anything? It does scale. I might redesign one. This worked, but I'd like to have some more like event controllers and stuff on it. So it might be a little hard to see. But I do have that blueprint, so I'm either going to build another one of those and add onto it, or completely redesign a transport ship, and we'll get that going. So I've got launch fighters button in here. I've got one out in the hangar as well, and that triggers that timer block that I showed that launches both fighters. There's no enemies around right now. One other thing I did is I hooked this up to the main cargo, but I have a sorter up here. So what that does is it will pull in any organics or wastewater into here and just automatically process it, rather than me having to gather it up and find it, and it gets put into the ingots and whatnot. So I've got all the sorters set up, so even if I drop this stuff in here, it gets pulled over there and processed automatically. Oh yes, I made a paint gun, and I'm unable to get it. I don't know why. I can't pull it out of the assembler. I need to go get that sorted out. It's probably a sorter somewhere not letting it through. But anyway, I think that'll do it for this episode. Things are moving along. The Reavers still continue to sniff around and attack occasionally. So far, the guns are holding them off. I'm hoping the little fighters, if nothing else, will distract them. That worked pretty well the last big attack. They were shooting their missiles mostly at the little tiny fighter and missing. Tiny Fighter 1 survived. You could check out that community post. You see a big explosion next to Tiny Fighter 1. They almost got him, but he survived. So yeah, things are going well. We shall continue on the adventure. I do have a camera control. I don't think I've shown this on the video yet. So this lets me look around the outside of the station. I also have some spotlight cameras that I can use to zoom in on stuff. So that'll be it for this one, folks. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care.